Hello guys, welcome back. I'm your friend InsXO. And as you know, I just have a vacation, 4 days of vacation. Then I am back. So let's say the vacation is quite half to half. Half of the time I was happy, and another half of the time I don't. Since I have to, sit on the bus and going around, it's very, let's say, uncomfortable. But another part, when you have the chance to see the nature in a 3D way, then you feel quite okay. So that's the vacation. Let's drop it. I don't want to talk about that inside of this video. The purpose for this video is that I determined to learn the Java language. I mean, I know the Java from a very long time ago, but what I do not know is how to use it, especially with the help of Spring Boot to create some backend service. That's something that I don't know. And because of I don't know this kind of knowledge, I missed a lot of chance, to actually create a project to earn a lot of money. So, and also it could make me feel bad since I couldn't finish the task that my friend gave to me. That would make me feel very bad because why he gave me task, because he trusts me, but I couldn't finish it. That must mean something. That must mean that I am not capable of doing something, and also I'm not capable of being a friend of them. That could make me feel very bad. So that's why today I'm going to try to learn how to do it in a right way. All right, back to the topic. So for the Java, especially for the Spring Boot, you basically got two ways of doing things. The first way is to use ASPA in Spring Boot. Sorry, I made a mistake. It should be JPA. Okay, the first way is to use a GPA. The GPA is a Java specification for managing relational data in Java application. It allows us to access and process the data between the Java object and the relational database or any database, to be honest. So the GPA is a way to do it, to do the let's say communication between the Java and the database. By using this method, you don't have to know the database that much. All you have to know is Java. You could do the database operations by writing some Java code. So this is the advantages of this method. And personally, I would recommend you start from this one. But let's say when things gets complicated, I mean the database operation, when it's getting complicated, then you have to go back to an old way. The old way is called MyBatis. This is another weird word.
MyBatis.
MyBatis, quite weird. So what is this? This is a Java persistence framework that couples objects with stored procedures or SQL statements using an XML descriptor or annotations. MyBatis is whatever. It's just let's say a framework that could allow you to write some pure SQL commands or statements. Then you could call those statements from Java. By using this method, you would have total control over your SQL operation, but it requires you to know the SQL. So this is a hard way. It's not, let's say, it's not suitable for beginners because you feel very frustrated when you learn this method. It's quite hard to understand. But as I said, since it's more complicated, it shoots a more complex situations in the software development. And I don't know why, but those Chinese, they love this method very much. Almost every Java project they do have used this technique. So that's why today I'm going to learn how to use this kind of thing with Java to do some operations with the database, I guess. And also, this is quite old. We got another technology that could speed up the development process. That technique is called
MyBatis Generator.
MyBatis Generator. So what it says, MyBatis Generator is a code generator for MyBatis. It will generate code for all versions of MyBatis. It will introspect a database table or many tables, and it will generate artifacts that can be used to access the table. So you know what it means? It means that all you have to do is to create the database table by yourself. Then, by using this generator, it could generate all those Java code for you automatically from that data table you created. So it somehow does the same thing of the GPA does, but the different part is that the GPA will only require you to know the Java. It will try to create the data table for you from the Java code. But for this generator, it's on the contrary. It will create the Java code from the database table. So it requires you to know the database because you have to manually create those tables by yourself. And I guess this is an quite old technique because, as you know, from his homepage, from this tool's homepage, the last published date is 2019, which is 3 years ago from now. So it's definitely an old technique. But I don't know why those Chinese just love this technique. I don't know. Maybe they are stupid. But let's say I cannot judge them, right? I shouldn't judge them. But in fact, this is an old technique. Alright, and so it's even running with this IDE. I mean, this IDE, how to read that again? This is an also old IDE. You should never use it if you want to do the Java development. You should use the IntelliJ IDEA instead. Yeah, anyway, since they are using this technique, so if you want to work in a Chinese company, I guess this is what you have to know. So let's learn it. Here's a post. It says, this is how you add a new feature to an old project that I have. Not I have, but this is just a project I downloaded from the internet. We will try to learn the concept by doing experiments based on this repository that I downloaded. So let's get into it. Follow the relevant requirements of the whatever, that's not important. The first step you have to do is design the data table and run it and add relative foreign key links. So we have to design the data table. How can we design a data table if we don't know what is the table we have? Okay, here I found an .sql file inside of this repository, and when I click into it, I see a bunch of SQL commands or statements. Some people would love to call them statements, but they are the same thing for me. And when I get into here, it says that no data sources are configured to run this SQL and provide advanced code assistance. So we need to configure the data source. I thought I configured it before. I don't know why it shows that warning, but let's try to make it again. MySQL, right? And we're gonna give it a username with the password. Holy shit, incomplete configuration. Driver files are not downloaded. So we need to download the driver files. Okay, after the typing and I did a test, it's okay. So we are going to go to the next step. Now we got this window. Inside of this window, we could execute some SQL statements or commands. So I'm going to search how to show MySQL tables. Alright, this is quite simple. We just have to say, we have to first use the database. But we don't know what kind of database we have yet properly. So how can we show MySQL databases? Okay, this is also quite simple. We just have to say show databases. That's quite humanized. Sorry, that's quite easy for us to do. So let me do that. Okay, from here you could say the result. We got so many different databases. Here I'm going to choose hospital because that's the one that I am doing. So I'll say use hospital. Can I just run this single line of code? Yes, we could. We could select it, then hit the execute option. After that, I'm gonna say show tables. From here, as you would say, we get so many different tables. Since we have so many different tables, I just want to know the relationship between those tables. How can I do that? To be specific, I just want to get a graph like this. So how can we do that? We're gonna go to, here we have to first open the database table or panel. After that, we select one of them. Then we select the diagrams. Then show visualization. Okay, show visualization. Let's see how can we do that. From here, we got our database panel, and if we collect that, we got our database source. From there, we got the hospital database. Then we right click it. Here we got the diagram. Then we show the visualization. Done. As you could see, this is what we got. We got what is that? Can we just okay, if I zoom in it a little bit, we could see all those tables, but it's still not clear. So let me zoom in for more. Alright, in the end, this is what we got. I couldn't say it clearly. I just want to move it around. Okay, I could. So at the top, I say here we got the hospital special. What is that? We got the ID, and we got the LAN. We got a description. We got the GMT create, GMT modified. That's weird. Then we got the hospital doctor, which is actually the doctor. So for that, we got an ID, and we got its LAN, its gender, its job title, its specialty, which is what he can do. Then we got the special ID. Yeah, that's normal. We got the ID and GMT create, GMT modified. What is the GMT?
Greenwich Mean Time.
It means Greenwich Mean Time. It's a time zone, probably at the beginning of all those time zones. I mean, this is a standard for the dates, I guess. Okay, it's just the time. It's just the time that matter. It means the created time and the modified time. Then we got the hospital outpatient. What is the outpatient? It says a patient who receives medical treatment without being admitted to the hospital. And we got its LAN, we got its special ID and created time, all that stuff. Alright, so let's say it's just a lot of different tables and they are connected to each other by one of their clone. I mean, one of their property or something like that. For example, for this line, you would say the special ID is just equal to the ID. For example, here you get the special ID inside of this table. It's corresponding to this table's ID. And also for this table, the visit plan, for this one, the doctor ID just equal to the ID. Here, this is ID, right? But it's corresponding to the doctor ID. Where is that? Come on, I didn't say any doctor ID inside of this table. Okay, alright, I got it. So here we got the doctor ID, which doctor he wanna visit. It's corresponding to the doctor ID, this one. So it's kind of like that. But since it's let's say kind of complex, so we may not be able to know what's going on between those tables at the first time when we look at it, but it's fine. As we get in touch with it more and more, we could generally start to understand what's going on there. But for now, let's just leave it there. I don't care for now. Alright, so since we got all those tables, what could we do? It says that we could design the data table, run it, and add related foreign key links. How can we design that data table? If we go to the SQL file that we have, we will say here we got a lot of comments that will create a lot of different tables. Okay, from the graph or the diagram, we could know that the hospital doctor's special ID would be just equal to this one's ID. This is information that we could know from this graph. But how can we find the corresponding code in the SQL code? How can we do that? We'll just do a search for the hospital doctor. Here we go. This is a hospital doctor. And as we know, the special ID should be corresponding to the ID somewhere. Here we go. That's why here we got the constraint int hospital doctor special ID. It's a foreign key for the hospital special ID, or it should be a reference for the hospital special ID on deletes or on updates. So at the first, we need to design a data table, then run it and add related foreign key links. For this one, I just want to make a simple one. For example, now we got the hospital doctor. I want to create a new table. It should be after the table that we have. And it's for hospital doctor hosts or article. And inside of this table, I would assume the table line equal to hospital doctor article, because I would assume that every doctor would write some articles for his patients. This is my guess, and I will make it true. So for each article, it should have an ID, that's for sure. And for each article, it should have a title, right? But for this one, I'll just make it as simple as possible. So I would just give it the contents that it needs. And for each one, instead of the special ID, we should say the doctor ID. Why? Because I think that article should be published by a certain doctor. So that's why here we need a foreign key called doctor ID. And we need the create term and modified term, probably, but for now I don't really want to do that. But let's just keep it here for now. Do we need the ID using braids? What is a braid? Yeah, I have no idea about that. Alright, according to the search, it's probably just the search method for that table. I do not really care about that. And here we got a weird string, which is inside of two weird characters. I don't know what this line of code means, but I mean, I know the meaning of this English sentence, but I don't know why it should be in here. Anyway, let me just give it a line. Hospital doctor, article, hospital, or let's say, yeah, I don't want to make it too complicated. I just want to say hospital doctor article ID. Maybe that's wrong. How about we just say hospital doctor ID for this article. And for this one, the foreign key is a doctor ID and should be a reference of doctor special ID on delete and on the update. This should be an English word, but I don't know the meaning of that.
Cascade.
Cascade, alright. Don't worry about my vocabulary accumulation, because I have a plan in this weekend. You will see how I increase my vocabularies within a single day. So anyway, that's the definition for this database for now. We should give it a len. Alright, now since we have this database definition created now, what I want to do is to run it. And how can we do that? If I right click this, it will say run hospital.sql file, then I run it. And we should add a data source for it. After that, we could run it. And as you could say, we get almost no errors. And it's quite simple, I guess. So for now, if we go back to the diagram again, okay, we should see a new table right in here. It's called a hospital doctor article. This is a new table that we just created, and it has a foreign link with the base one. The doctor ID right in here is equal to the ID in here. Okay, so that's our first step. We have created a database table. I mean a table. And we have also added the related foreign key. So what's the next step for us to do? We have to use a generator to generate all those mapper, entity, and XML file. The only problem is, how can we do that? Oh, one thing to mention is that, okay, never mind. So this is a table that the author created, then he executed the common MBG generator. Before we run that generator, we had to first modify it. It has some configurations inside of this file. So let's get into it. Here we go. This is our definition for that. This is our configuration. Since we don't know a shit about how to configure those things, so we could leave it there. And whenever we run it, it will generate all those data tables for us. But before we do that, I still want to know how to execute this one. So common MBG generator, where is that? Here we got the common. If you could say it right here, common, MBG, and the generator. So it seems like the generator is just a class, and for this class, it has the main entry points, and we could run it for sure. So let me run it. I'm going to say run generator.main, whatever. After I hit that, it start to build. Then it start to run that function. Then we got an error. We got a bunch of error. That's interesting. It says that resource db.proportion does not exist. Okay, so it says that the DB properties does not exist. What is the DB properties? Well, it's something like this, you know. This one, it defines the connection detail for your database. I mean, it has to use this information to connect it to your database. So we need to give it the right field path. And for now, as I could say, my database properties is inside of here, and we got all this configuration. I'm going to copy its path. Then I'm going to paste it into the my whatever generator configuration, which is right here. Now let me try to run the whole stuff again. Okay, we still couldn't make it wrong. Alright, that's interesting. So let me use a relative path, 2 dots, another 2 dots, or probably just 1, 2 dot. Alright, I give up. I just use the absolute path for this one. For this case, we still got the error. It says that it couldn't. This file does not exist, which is wrong. It exists for sure. Okay, in the end, I just gave it the len of database properties, which is corresponding to this one. I didn't add any special stuff, just that len. Then it worked. It works. So it generates all those stuffs for us, even though I don't know what kind of things he generated for us. But we will say, let's say first, let's go to the entity. For this one, we should have the article kind of thing, but I didn't say anything. Then how about the mapper? No, I didn't say anything. Alright, it seems like we got a bunch of warning, which is error, I guess. The specified targets project dictionary src main resources does not exist. Alright, why we get this error? There's an article. It tells me to change this symbol. I don't know if you can notice the difference between this one and this one. They got a little bit difference on this character. Okay, I guess that's why people should always use Linux or MSA than the Windows, because the Windows has so many weird things out there. For example, the path is different than the Linux. Okay, so let me run the whole stuff again. Alright, for now, as you could say, we got 2 new files for the entity. Also, we got 1 new file for the mapper. So that's good. It automatically generated the article entity for us, even though I don't know anything about what the entity means. Okay, so for this class, it's called hospital doctor article, and it implements some of its property. For example, the ID, the contents, the doctor ID, and the created time, updated time, all those stuff. So so that we don't have to do this kind of thing by ourselves. Then we got the hospital doctor article example. Instead of that example, we got a bunch of functions that related to how to handle that class, that data class. For example, the clear and, for example, ID less than something, ID is between something, and the doctor ID equal to something. Yeah, I don't know why we need this class, but we'll probably know that later or in the future. But for now, I don't know why we need the example right here. Then for the mapper, if we get into it, it's the interface. And this defines those operations that we could do related to the database for this table. For example, count by example, delete by example, insert selective. Alright, let's go back to the tutorial. After we have generated the entity, the mapper XML, really, I don't see anything of that. Okay, here we go. The hospital doctor article mapper.xml. If we go to the XML file, you will generally notice that it generated some SQL command for us. For example, select whatever from whatever, delete from a table, update something. Then it says that we should define the interface. Okay, according to the old code that we have, the interface looks like something, it's something like this. I without len and with the service. And it only got a few definition for that, for those functions. For example, the insert, the update, the count, the delete, the last, which is all those functions that you wanna use for this table. In other words, all those operations that you wanna do with this table. So basically that's that. Before you do anything, we just wanna try to create a new file, right? So it's an interface, Java class, it's an interface. And we're gonna give it a name, hospital, doctor, article, service. That's that. And now we got this new interface. Inside of this interface, I'll just copy some method from other files. Okay, basically I'll just have three functions. First one is insert. We want to insert a new article. Then for the second one, it's update. We want to update the old article with the new content. And also we're gonna have the third function, which is a delete or deletion. For this one, we'll just delete an article based on its ID. But for now, clearly we got some error. For example, for this parameter, we shouldn't use this parameter, but instead we should define it by ourselves. But before we do that, let's go to the old parameters. Should it be inside of somewhere else? Okay, here we go. Inside of the folder DTO, we got the parameters, and for inside of that, we got all those different parameters that we have. And you may ask me, what is parameter? Well, it's just a definition for the request for an API, also the response for an API. For example, if we get into one of them, we could say something like this: API model property equal to something like that. It's some value that we want to get, or we want the client to send to us, to send to the service. So I just do a copy. I really do not wanna do it by myself. So I just do a copy, then I do a paste. For the paste, it should have a new len. It should be hospital article parameters, whatever. Yeah, and inside of that, we shall do some changes. For example, the API model. For this one, that will be article parameters. And then you should have something, let's say, the article content, which should be a string. No, not that. Okay, so first that would be an ID, the article ID. Then it's article contents. And basically, this is our definition for the hospital article parameter. Wait a minute. It's probably not enough for us. We should also have the doctor ID properly. So yeah, I'm not pretty sure about that. Okay. It seems like for the doctor model or for the doctor parameter, it doesn't have the ID. So the ID must be generated by the framework itself. So we don't have to actually care about the article ID, but instead we should care about the doctor ID. Because this article should be written by a specific doctor. Alright, after we have defined the parameters, we shall be able to use it inside of the interface if I didn't make anything wrong. And clearly when I changed it to this, it will recommend us to import that class, and we will do that, and it will automatically import that parameter for us, which is good. So for now we got the interface of all those operation function for this new table that we just added. Then what else? I start to feel a little bit bored. I have to do all those stuff to be able to just operate on the database. It seems to be a little bit stupid. Okay, forget about what I have said. Let's go on. So after we have defined the interface, we shall actually define the functions, which is the implementation for this service, for this database service. Okay, it should be inside of the implementation folder. For now, what you say is a shorthand for the implementation, but you should know that it's the implementation. Otherwise, you would feel very hard to remember it. But in those Chinese school, those Chinese university, they attend to let you remember those stupid shorthand. But as I said, it's stupid. So you'll feel very struggle to learn all those things they told you. Yeah. Okay. Let's go on. Since I don't really want to do it by myself, so I'll just do a copy for one of them. Okay, how about this one? I just do copy and paste. For this one, that will be hospital doctor article service implementation. Okay, and for this one, as we could say, it has some resources from the mapper file that it generated for us. For example, the hospital doctor mapper. How they use that? Well, it's used it as a database, something like that. Yeah, it's definitely true. So we're gonna do the same thing in here. We use a doctor info map, and also we need to use another one, the new one that we just generated. It's called hospital doctor article mapper. Alright, then I'm going to give it a name, hospital article mapper. Then we got that resource available for us. Then let's see what we need to do. We need to implement the interface we just created before. Okay, which is this one, the insert, update, and the delete. So for this implementation, it should actually implement the hospital doctor article service than the previous one. And after we did that, we could add the implement methods so that it will automatically complete some methods for us, and so that we could work on with it. And for now, as you could say, we got all those functions available. All we have to do is to override it to write some logic by ourselves. For the insert function, we will try to create an article. So new hospital doctor article. Okay. Then we can copy. Do we really have to copy that? No. I'm going to manually do that. So article dot. Wow, it got a lot of things. For example, we can set the doctor ID by giving it the ID, or we can set the contents by giving it some content. Sorry, by giving it some contents. But for now, it should be coming from the parameters that get doctor ID, then parameters get article content. So it seems like it's pretty fluent. You know, the IDE automatically complete all those stuff for us. We don't have to do anything else. So maybe this is why people love the Java, because it's just so fucking simple. Then, let's see what we have. We're gonna say the hospital doctor article dot. Oh my god. Wait. Something must be wrong. Oh, okay, I got it. So I'm gonna, in the end, we're gonna return article dot insert. Well, that's not working. Okay, I'm gonna say hospital doctor article dot mapper dot insert with the article that we have. And if this message return a number that greater than 0, that means we have successfully inserted something. Okay, so this is the insert function. Then it comes with the update. For this one, we will basically do the same thing, probably the same thing, I don't know. But for this now, we'll set the ID to the ID it gave to us. Then we will only set the modified term to the current term. And also I'm gonna say the hospital doctor article mapper that update by primary key selective, and we will give it the article. So that's it. That's how simple it is. Even though it's kind of simple, but it still requires a lot of human coding, which is not good. I think the software itself should automatically generate all those code for us. Okay, for the article deletion, it could be as simple as this one, just one line of code that would do it. Alright, so it seems like we just finished all those implementation for the operation on that table of our database. What's the next step? Okay, the next step for us to do is to write the controller, which is the business logic for the whole operation. Inside of the controller, we're gonna perform some simple parameter verification, and then we will try to write the Swagger nodes. If you don't know what a Swagger is, it's just a documentation generator for your API. Then we're gonna do some authorization. Even though I never did this before, you know, I always think that okay, for my own project, I don't have to do the how to say that again? Authority. Whatever. Let's say
authority.
Okay. So for my own project, I usually do not do the authority management. But for a product that's ready for publish, it definitely requires this kind of thing. We don't want anyone to be able to modify our service data, right? Okay, so let's say what we could do. This seems to be quite simple, but I don't know how to do it. Alright, let's get into some of our code. Here we got the controller. It already has a lot of different controllers out there. But for the simplicity, I'll just do a copy for the hospital doctor controller, and I'll do a paste. For this one, I'll just call it hospital doctor article controller. Alright, for this controller, for this API, it should have some LAN for it. It belongs to this model, then it should belongs to the doctor article interface. Oh my god. Did you know what? The controller, it's actually related to the URL. So basically, this is how we define the RESTful API. This is where we define all those mapping for the URL. Yeah, I don't know that, but yeah, since this is how we do it, we'll just do it. So let's get into it. Okay, it seems that all those different controllers, they all use a hospital as a first part of their URL, and then you get some different part on the following URL. Okay, so that's good. Let me try to do it. First, we get the hospital, right? That's correct. Then we don't need the two static type. Then we need to have some resources. For example, the services that we just defined. That will be I hospital doctor article service. Okay, and after that, we shall have a lot of API, right? For this one, for the post API, that must be aiding. You know, we want to add some data to our database. So for this one, I'll just call it article. And the description would be aid an article. Okay, then for the notes, that'll be the doctor ID and its contents. Alright, so for the function name, that should be insert doctor article. It would request the body to have the hospital doctor article parameters. Wait a minute, why I couldn't say it anywhere. Alright, it's called hospital article parameter. So the next time I'd better to unite all those LAN for one scene. Otherwise I'll definitely make some mistake. So hospital article parameters. So this time it's correct. Then we will do a simple verification for that. So that'll be parameter dot get doctor ID dot is empty or not. I don't know. All I care about is that it should be an empty one. So if it's an empty one, we will just say we need the parameter. Okay, and also for the doctor service that counts, we want to count the doctor ID. If it does not exist on the doctor service, which means we don't have this doctor, then it's not allowed for this operation. And again, for this doctor service, let's say, then the last verification for us to do is we just want to make sure that the content it gave to us is not empty. Alright, if it passed all those verification, then we could just say hospital doctor article service that insert that parameter. If it's okay, we will return the success. If it's wrong, we will just return an error. And this is for the post method. What about the put method? For this one, what we should do? Okay, for this one, that will be a little bit different. We need the ID, which is not the doctor ID, but the article ID. Okay, for this one, I just make sure that the ID does not equal to an empty one. It does not equal to none. Although I don't know if its default value is none or not if we do not give it to the service. But I don't care that much. Alright. In the end, we will do that update. If it's success, we'll return the success. If it's not, we'll just return the failed value. Okay, in the end, it's a deletion for an article. For this one, it's quite simple. We just finished all of them. Wait a minute, why we cannot use a count method for this one? Okay. Okay, I got it. We didn't implement the count method for this one. That's fine. I'll just leave it there, even if we need that. But for now, for the simplicity reason, I won't define that. Okay, now it seems like we just finished all those steps for making an API. Can we run this software and see the functionality that we made during this video? Can we do that? I don't know. Let's just run it. Okay, we got an error. Oh, I got it. Here we want to make sure that every URL we create is unique. Otherwise, an error would happen. And this is good. You know what? This has only happened when you doing the programming with some compilable programming language. If you are using some other dynamic programming language like Python or JavaScript, you'll never know the error until you run it, until you do a test. Okay, it seems like it doesn't have any errors now, and it says that it's running on the 8080. So we're gonna go to there. Basically this is what we have, and we got all those stuff, and we got a new one. If you look carefully at here, you would say we got an article interface. It's a new one, and if we collect it into it, we would say three part of it: the add, update, and delete. If we go to the add, we would just say, the example for this one, and it gives you all those parameters that you need to give to this code, and also for the update, for the delete, which is quite interesting. Let me just do a test for this API and see if it's working. So here we got a debug button. Inside of that, we could give it the article contents and the doctor ID. But for now, I don't know any doctor yet. So let's see if we can get one by doing this. We got no doctors yet. We need to add a new doctor. For this one, that'll be just this. Let me see if it's working. Come on. Alright, since it's always remind me that we get some talking errors, it's kind of require us to log in. So in the end, I have no choice but to log in by using the API. And now let's try it again. For some reason, it still says that we're not logged in. And here we got a login account table. Maybe I can modify it so that we could log in. From here, we say the test account is indeed logged in. So I don't know why I couldn't do that operation. Maybe we could add a path to the secure ignore URLs last, so that we don't have to log in to be able to use the functionality that we created. So hospital, wait a minute. Here we go. Hospital article and all its children. Alright, after that, let me send this request again. Now we still got this error. Maybe I should do some changes for it. Okay, now it's working. We could do this because I just added the two URLs to the whitelist, and it's working now. But the only problem is since we didn't implement the last API, so we couldn't know the article that we just added unless we get into the database to say it directly. Okay, let me jump into the source. Here we go, we got a run recording here, and we could change that. For example, we could update that article by using the ID. and with a new content len. Well, it says that the ID cannot be equal to an empty one, but I indeed gave it the ID. Oh, sorry, we made a mistake. If the ID equal to a unknown value, then we say ID cannot be an empty one. Now, if we try it again, and if we go back to our database, we do a refresh, you say we got the correct content, it's updated. Now, if we go to the delete passage, for this one, we'll give it the ID and we send it out. After that, if we do a refresh, we see nothing right in there. So basically, we just create a API, a bunch of API for with the Java to do some operations on our database. Of course, with the old technique. I mean, MyBatis Generator.
MyBatis Generator.
MyBatis Generator. Such a stupid name. Anyway, we have learned this. Okay, so in the next video, I'm going to cover how to make a last API. For the last API, it's kind of complicated. For example, you have to split the page, but it won't that difficult anyway. We will just do the copy, I guess. And then, despite of that, I guess the most important stuff we need to know is authentication. I mean, how can we do that? With different accounts. That's something that we definitely need to master. Otherwise, we couldn't be able to make any system that's useful for the rest of the people in this earth. So that's it. I hope you have learned something from this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.